All right. Good morning. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. I am joined by Commissioner Harrison, Deputy Mayor Barksdale, our City Administrator Faith Leach, Deputy Commissioner Worley, and the entire upper command staff of the Baltimore Police Department. We're here today to make an announcement that will have a significant impact on the future of public safety here in Baltimore. Today, we are announcing that Commissioner Harrison will be departing his role as Baltimore Police Commissioner, and importantly, also announce my decision to nominate Deputy Commissioner Worley to lead the Baltimore Police Department moving forward. Over the last few weeks, the Commissioner and I have had numerous conversations about the future of our police department. And over the course of those conversations, it became clear to both of us that this was the right time to make this transition. And with that, I will turn it over first to Commissioner Harrison for a few words. Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Make sure this works. So good morning. I'm here to announce that over the last few weeks, as you've heard, I've been in conversations with our mayor about my future and about the future of the Baltimore Police Department. And in those conversations, it became convincing to me that this was the most opportune time for me to pass the torch, and the mayor shares that vision that this is the right time. I certainly give my God glory and honor for the great work that he has done in my life and the work he has done and is doing in this city, because over the past 4.5 years, I have been truly blessed to serve this city of Baltimore and receive the support and confidence of the men and women of this department, our elected leaders, and the great people of Baltimore. I want to first thank my wife, who is here with me, Cece Harrison, without whom I could not have made this journey. She has been on the front lines, serving with me, praying for our city, and has been my rock through the toughest days. Thank you so much for your continued support. I want to thank the mayor for his confidence in me to lead the police department and for all of his support in giving me and giving the department everything we need to be successful. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve in your administration, sir. I want to thank our governor, our state's attorney, our United States attorney, our attorney general for their partnerships that have allowed all of us to be successful. I want to thank them for their friendships. I want to thank them for the work that they're doing that's helping the Baltimore Police Department and the city turn the crime problem around. During my tenure, the Baltimore Police Department has achieved significant progress and great resiliency in the midst of significant challenges. Not only am I immensely proud of this department and what we've been able to accomplish, but I appreciate all the prayers, all of the kind words, the encouragement from the many residents of our city and supporters from across the country. In April, our department released a 4-year review of the Crime Reduction and Departmental Transformation Plan that outlined many of our successes and our forward momentum in crime reduction, investments in all areas, and full transformation of our department. To say that we've just come a long way would be an understatement. I am extremely proud and thankful to all of the members of the department who have worked tirelessly to get us to where we are today. For over 32 years, I have served in law enforcement with the heart of gratitude and immense pride to serve and protect, and have led and had the honor of serving in 2 major cities. I've had the pleasure of working with some of the brightest minds in law enforcement and have now served in 2 major police departments during their transformation, both while under federal consent decrees, the only chief in America to have done it twice. As outlined in the 4-year review, our police department has not only demonstrated reductions in both violent and property crime, but we have also significantly increased our proactive efforts, improved the quality of enforcement, and considerably enhanced engagement with our residents and communities across the city, though we know there is more work to be done. All of this while reducing negative interactions with the public and reducing excessive force complaints and litigation against our department and against the city. Again, I want to thank Mayor Scott for his ongoing support of the work and transformation of our department and for leading the charge of the group violence reduction strategy. While some may question the efforts of our city in working holistically to reduce violent crime and changing the lives of our residents, we know that without a doubt, the efforts of the Group Violence Reduction Strategy have been incredibly effective in reducing the number of homicides and shootings in our city. I want to thank Judge James Berdar, who oversees our federal consent decree. Your support of my administration has been vital in ensuring we continue transforming the agency into a world-class department. Not only has our department hosted more than 40 other jurisdictions who have come to our doorsteps to learn about best practices and model our policies, we truly have become the greatest comeback story in America. I also want to thank my deputy commissioners and my senior leadership team who are all standing with me today. I say this all the time and I'll repeat it today. This is the Vince Lombardi world-class Super Bowl winning team. I would put this team up against any other leadership team in the United States of America. There is no comparison. Together, we have truly raised the bar in policing. Lastly, I want to send a message and thanks of gratitude to the men and women of the Baltimore Police Department. Your hard work and dedication have been tremendous in its role of the police commissioner to set the vision and direction of the department, but real change, real impact, real transformation is not possible without the rank and file officers, sergeants, lieutenants, command members, civilian staff and support staff, professional managers, and contracted employees and personnel that get the work done each and every day. The opportunity to serve as your police commissioner is one that I will always cherish. I now congratulate future Commissioner Worley, who I've had the privilege of working side by side with, leading, mentoring, coaching, grooming. I have sent him and others to the best leadership schools in this country to prepare him for this day and for this very moment. I have full confidence that he will lead the BPD forward with even more accomplishments and continue the greatest comeback story in America. And although we're making this announcement today, I will be fully accessible to Commissioner Worley and to Mayor Scott until the commissioner is fully confirmed. And again, I want to say a special thank you to my wife for your ongoing support, and I want to say a special thank you to this city and the people of this city. Seeing you, hearing from you, shaking your hands at the gas station, in the supermarkets, at church, is why I wake up every day to do this job again the next day. My wife and I have grown to love this city, and we have become immersed in the Baltimore culture. And I just want to tell you, not only thank you, but I love you. I now say thank you to the commissioner for stepping up to take not only this challenge, but this opportunity, and I have full confidence that he, along with the mayor and along with this entire team, will keep the Baltimore moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and let me say on behalf of all Baltimoreans, I want to thank you for your leadership over these past 4.5 years. And I think it's important for us to all be reminded that when Commissioner Harrison arrived, I was the chair of the City Council's Public Safety Committee. And when the commissioner and I first met, he said to me, I will leave this department better than I found it when I arrived, and I will make sure that the person replacing me will be from within the department. And well, Mr. Commissioner, I think that we know that we're here today and we have a much stronger BPD. And you heard him say just a little bit of it, but in just a few years, BPD has went from an example of everything that was wrong with policing to the example of how you can start to repair those relationships, build those relationships, go through reform, policing reform, doing that work done over these past 4.5 years to have us now be the leader, the place that other departments, that other mayors, that other chiefs look to how you can do reform and focus on getting guns off the street and holding people accountable at the same time. We've taken those meaningful strides simultaneously with tackling our public safety goals and laying out the vision for a greater Baltimore. Achieved well over 80% compliance with our federal consent decree, recovering over 2,600 illegal firearms and 485 ghost guns just in last year alone. Reimagining policing to improve of Baltimore's application of law enforcement resources. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, public safety is my top priority as mayor of Baltimore, and I am confident that the women and men in BPD will continue to work with our public safety partners to carry on the progress we have made as a part of that holistic strategy to fight violent crime. These efforts that are led, that work that these women and men do each and every day on the streets of Baltimore, had contributed to a 19% reduction in homicides and an 8% reduction in non-fatal shootings, respectively, year over year. All of this has been in service of crafting the future of the Baltimore Police Department. And to that end, I'd like to now turn towards the future, leadership at the BPD. I am incredibly proud to also be able to stand here with Deputy Commissioner Worley, who I know will be a fantastic police commissioner and will today assume the role of acting commissioner. Time and time again, over his more than 24 years serving with the BPD, Acting Commissioner Worley has proven his commitment to our city. As a fellow son of Baltimore and an experienced public servant, it is clear that he is the right person to lead our department into the future. Someone who has played a variety of roles within the police department, Acting Commissioner Worley will continue his hard work to make that vision a reality. And I am really excited to continue the partnership we've built so far as a part of our shared commitment to building a better, safer Baltimore, the place that we have always called home. And with that, I will turn it over to Acting Commissioner Worley for a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Scott, for the kind words, and thank you, Commissioner Harrison, for the trust and hard work. When Commissioner Harrison first got here, the first meeting I had with him, he told me he was going to start grooming his successor, and that wasn't just me, it was for all the command staff. And he's done that from the day he got here until today, and I will continue to call him and ask him for advice as we move forward. I also want to thank Mrs. Harrison, because there was many late-night calls, many dinners, many movies interrupted where I had to call him and ask him for different things, so thank you too, ma'am. It's an honor to be standing here. I've dedicated my life to service the city of Baltimore. Like the mayor said, I was born and raised in Baltimore, and I look forward to continuing that service. We've already achieved significant progress in addressing public safety challenges within the city. So much of that can be attributed to the policies and investments that Mayor Scott has put into the city, as well as the things and changes that the commissioner has done along the reform process and the crime fight. I'll have significantly more to say to the citizens and elected officials and everyone else in the city as we move further into the confirmation process. I just want to say thank you again to the mayor, thank you again to Commissioner Harrison, thank you to all the command staff and all the citizens of Baltimore. I look forward to working with everyone, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Commissioner, and we look forward to working even closer with you as you move into your new role. And with that, we will open it up for questions.
So we're going to prioritize an initial question and follow-up from each outlet, and then circle back for additional. Go first to the Baltimore Sun.
I'm Darcy from the Baltimore Sun. Why make this decision now? You talked about having multiple conversations. What made this the right time for the change?
Well, I think we've been having these conversations, as I said, for weeks. I think that when you consider where the department is, when you consider the progress that's been made, and what better time than right now? We know, as the commissioner said, as I said, that this has always been his intention to make sure that we're building from within, that we're providing that ability for us to grow from within, to something that, quite honestly, in the past, the BPD hasn't been prepared to do. So we think that now is the best time to do that.
Go next to the banner.
Yes.
Adam Willis from the banner. Commissioner Harrison, what's next for you?
I've been creative.
Well, first of all, thank you for that. Let me just start by saying I have no job offers. I have not interviewed for any jobs. The first thing is for me is to breathe. Second thing is to make sure I'm here to help the new police commissioner get acclimated to the work and make myself accessible to the commissioner, while I also spend some very valuable time with family who I just don't get to do that with, living more than 1,200 miles away. And right now, it is about making sure that I can get some rest. I have been doing this in 2 cities now for 9 consecutive years with no break. So I'm proud to have done that. But now it's time to pass the torch. To be totally honest, to get a little rest, and then I can then look at options further down the line. Thank you.
Go next to WMAR-TV.
Morning, Mayor. Barry Sims, WBAL. Question for you and also for the acting commissioner. One of the things that happened as the city has been looking for commissioners before, we've looked outside a lot of times. This time, it looks like we're inside. We know that Deputy Commissioner has come through the ranks. Was that, how much of a concern was that as we were looking into this transition, and also how will this also impact dealing with the consent decree?
Well, I'll say this, and I think that we'll say again, Barry, that this was one of the first conversations that Commissioner Harrison and I had, right? We talked about how Baltimore historically has went to outside. And he said that, and he was a man of his word, that he was going to invest in those in leadership and command in this department to make sure that when this day came, that the person replacing him will be from within. And that's why we're here today. If we were having this conversation 4.5 years ago, we wouldn't be able to have that conversation because we did not invest in our leadership and command in the way that this commissioner has done to allow not just Commissioner Worley, but a lot of the folks standing behind us today to be able to be and go through these leadership schools, to be the folks that other departments are going to start to look at, right? We know we lost a deputy commissioner to go be a chief in another place. That's not something that has historically happened for the BPD. So it wasn't a problem at all that the acting commissioner was coming from within. It was actually a strength, and actually a strength because he's from Baltimore. Albeit he went to an inferior high school at Cardinal Gibbons, he is from Baltimore, lived in this city his whole life, worked up through the ranks, you know, and he's someone that I've known for many years. He was my district commander when I was a council person. That wasn't a weakness at all. That's a strength. And it talks about how we have progressed as a department, not just with the external facing things, but internally investing in our own leadership, something that we hadn't done very well in the past.
And with the consent decree?
Oh, and with the consent decree, though, we won't miss a beat there, right? The acting commissioners have been involved in that. We've already talked to the monitor and the judge. They already know, and we will continue the great work that we've been doing there and leading in that way, and hopefully getting the consent decree to an end as quickly as possible.
Follow up from WBAL Radio.
Mayor Scott,
Yes.
why the deputy commissioner? I know Commissioner Harrison said he's been busy grooming a number of different people, but you've had the eyes kind of at arm's length. What's impressed you the most about the deputy commissioner, not only in his record, but what you have seen as you've been out in the streets, in the fields, seeing him work?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think that, let me just say that this decision wasn't an easy one, right? I think with the leadership that you see standing behind me today, that's not something that I can just make like an easy decision. But when I put everything on the table and I think about not just him in this role, but every role that I've seen him in, right? One, he's from Baltimore. When obey is in your blood, that means a lot to me, right? The commissioner now has it in his blood, that he's a little different. But also, when you see someone who's able to interact both with the women and men in the BPD, but also the community, the responsiveness that I've seen him have to the community members, right? Over the years, everyone knows that I'm up late nights, right? I know that there's one other person for sure that is sending emails at 2 a.m. and then it's this guy, right? I think that all of those things together with the leadership and the things that the commissioner has done to prepare him is what led me to that decision.
Next, Fox 45.
Yes, Shannon Lilly with Fox 45. My question is for Commissioner Harrison. Do you think it was wise, as you're moving out now, to not go after low-level crimes over the last several years?
Well, you know what? That was actually not a decision I get to make in a silo. And so the police department was working in consultation with the state's attorney's office, where a number of those crimes we know were not being prosecuted. So it put us, we had to design policy and guidance for the police officers to perform their duties, understanding that There are certain things we will prosecute, which means we should be enforcing, and we could not put officers in positions to do something and get themselves injured, get community members injured, all of the things that go along with that for a case that's likely not going to be prosecuted. So it was a policy decision. It was not a personal or professional decision. It was purely policy decision.
Thanks, Steve.
Christy Harper, WMAR. I have a question for the acting commissioner. What would you say is the greatest piece of advice Commissioner Harrison gave you as far as leading the city to make improvements in the conditions?
Well, there was so much advice that he's given me over the 4.5 years. It's like a teacher. I went to a Pele school in D.C., and everything that I put out, I told him, I was like, I got the advantage. I got the guru right in my office, right across the street from me, so I can go to it. The biggest thing was, don't change who you are. Continue to be the same person that you are when you started this job. Treat the men and women on the street. They're the most important people in this department because they're the ones who do the job every single day. Build relationships. I hope he hasn't copyrighted this. It's build relationships where none exist, repair the relationships that are broken, and continue to strengthen the ones that are already there. I think I screwed it up, but you get the point.
And WJZ, do you have one?
Mayor, are you willing to entertain a question about the quality of air?
Yeah, sure, Senior.
Can you give us your take on that, please?
Yeah, listen, this is a serious thing, and this, as I said yesterday, if you don't have to be outside, don't. And those who have pre-existing conditions should be wearing a mask. I know when I go outside, I'll be wearing a mask. Rec and Parks has suspended all of our outdoor activities, so there will be no track practice, no outdoor sporting events, any of that through Friday. We're going to do that, and we advise everyone else to do the same in their private lives. This is something that we should take very, very seriously. I know no one wants to be hearing from me talking about wearing masks again, but we should know now that I'm only going to do that when it's in the best interest of people's public health and safety.
Do we have an outlet that hasn't asked yet?
Nope.
Okay, go next.
I have a question for the acting commissioner. You mentioned 24 years in service. In those 24 years, was it your dream to ascend to be a commissioner? And as well as, what is your one thing that you want to accomplish during your time as commissioner?
When I first started the job, I was a little older. I was 34. So when I first started, my goal was to be a sergeant in 5 years and a lieutenant in 10, and I didn't really think much after that. And then I became a captain, and all of a sudden I wanted to move up. And eventually, one day I wanted to be the commissioner. And what happens is most of the time you don't become a commissioner in the city, the agency that you come through. I'm lucky enough to hopefully do that now. And then what was the second question? I'm sorry.
What is, in your 24 years, what is one of the things that you want to change with the Navy department?
I think we've already done that. We've changed the department. We went from being a warrior to a guardian mentality. We've changed the men and women. Since the commissioner's been here, we've not only reformed the department, but we're lowering crime while we're doing the same thing. And that's very, very difficult to do, to achieve both of those things at the same time.
Any additional questions?
Just kind of a follow-up. As a leader, then, how do you intend to maintain contact with, as you said, those on the street?
Well, you go and visit roll calls, you go to crime scenes. Unfortunately, you see, that's usually when you see a lot of them. But you visit roll calls. I'll follow the model that the commissioner brought. He went out and visited the community. He was always out in the community. He was always out talking to the officers. And you just treat them the way I'll treat them the way I've always treated them from the time that I became an officer until the time that hopefully I'll be in the commissioner's office permanently. But I'll just continue to do what I've done for the last 24 years and follow the example that Commissioner Harrison has set.
And last question, WMAR.
This is for the acting commissioner and Commissioner Harrison. And this is dealing with Commissioner Harrison, as you're leaving, what is it that you are hoping that the department will focus on in the final project? There's so many different issues. What is the main thing? And also, acting commissioner, what is it that you plan to work on as you decide?
Well, I think there's so many things, but I'll give you a very general thing. I think the department should continue to to follow the pathway that has been set. Continue to follow the plan that has been working. Continue to make sure that we do our very best. The agency does its very best to be the best that it can. You know, Vince Lombardi, and I love Vince Lombardi, said, perfection is not attainable, but if we chase perfection, we'll catch excellence. My hope is that the department would always try to chase that perfection so it can always be in a perpetual state of getting better, and every day they will get better. I'm looking for them to surpass anything that I have done. It has been with the mayor, our council members, our state delegates, our community members, the men and women of the department working together. No one person did it, but I would think that the next commissioner would do the same thing, not think that he or she does it alone, but incorporate the entire community into the plan, into what it really takes to be successful, and never be satisfied.
I agree with the commissioner. We just continue what we're doing. That we're having success this year. The mayor has already given you the homicide and non-fatal shooting numbers. Robberies are pretty close to down. I didn't see the numbers today. If they hover right around even. So we're on the right path, and continue to build the group violence reduction strategy. That's the city's strategy, and we will continue to do that as we move across the city and continue the work that we've been doing for the last 4.5 years.
There you go.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.